Hello everybody, this is SemiHot Soap Skincare and Lifestyle. So it's nice to be with you guys again, once again. So today we'll be discussing three things. We'll be talking about cold process soap, semi-hot process soap, and hot process soap. I read somewhere where a lady was telling people she's going to teach them semi-cold process soap. So I don't know whether I should say semi-cold process soap, but I know it as semi-hot process soap. Okay, so now when we talk about cold process soap, we are talking about making that soap at ambient temperature, at room temperature. What it means is that your oils are at room temperature. Your lye has also been cooled down to room temperature. At times, it might have even stayed overnight, what some people call fermenting. It might have stayed overnight, not because you had the purpose of fermenting it, but probably because that it was the next day you were able to use it, or you wanted it to cool down. Because usually when we mix our caustic, it gets hot. It gets as hot as even 80 degrees centigrade. Okay, so for you to make cold processed soap, as in the real cold processed soap, your oils need to be at room temperature, your caustic need to be at room temperature. Okay, now for some oils that are semi-solid at room temperature, for example your butters or your palm oil, you might melt them a little bit to make them fluid before you make your soap. Okay, then when they are now a little bit fluid but not so hot, just warm enough or just at room temperature, you can now combine your caustic soda and your oils, mix them up consistently until you get to trace. Okay, and then you now make your soap. Okay, it now forms soap because they've already reacted. Okay, the oil, which is an acid, your oils are usually fatty acids. Your oil, which is an acid, has combined with your caustic soda, which is a strong alkaline, to form something neutral. Okay, usually the reaction between an acid and base gives you a salt with water, is it not so? So your salt is just like the is your soap is just like the salt. I'm not saying it's a salt, it's just like the salt that was formed from the reaction of this your acid and base. Okay, then when we are talking about semi-hot process, this is a tricky one. It's not everybody that does it, it's not everybody that can do it. At times it comes with its own problems depending on the kind of formulation you're using. Okay, in semi-hot process, you warm your oils to a certain level, and then you also allow your caustic to be warm to a certain level. Not that you warm your caustic or you don't warm your caustic. Already when you mix your caustic soda gel is an exothermic reaction, so it gives out heat. So in that heat that it gives out, you take advantage of that heat and then you combine it with your warm oils, and then you make soap. You understand? By doing so, is like you're facilitating saponification. You're cutting out going directly into hot process. You're saving cost to some extent because you're not going to cook it. You understand? Let's say, and then there are rules also concerning this semi-hot process in some instances. If you don't have to, if you don't want to have problem. Let's say, for example, you want to make semi-hot process, you should try as much as possible for the temperature range between your oil and your caustic soda to be close. Let's say your oil is 50 degrees centigrade warm. Your caustic soda should be at least that 50 or 60 or thereabout, or 55 or thereabout. Okay, so as to avoid some problems like separation. Then at times again, when you use this kind of temperatures, there is tendency of getting volcano. Okay, either the soap actively volcanoing out of the container of your soap making vessel, or at times you have even finished and poured into the mold, then your soap will now start rising and pouring out of the mold. These things also do happen, even though they do happen in cold process soap, depending on what you're using in the soap. Like in cold process soap, if you are using a lot of things like milk, or you're using things like fruit juice, or you're using things that have sugars, okay, they facilitate this kind of volcano happening in cold process soap. But generally, if everything going right, cold process soap is a little bit more well behaved, okay, generally, apart from some soap, other soap making problems I will discuss later. But for this semi-hot process can be notorious if you don't know what you're doing. So that's why I always advise, if you know you're making a recipe that could volcano, get your cold water close by, okay. When you see it rising, either you whisk vigorously or you carry your vessel, immerse it in the cold water and mix quickly. Mix it quickly so that the temperature will go down and also the volcano will calm down. We all know what is a volcano. Volcanoing in soap is when your soap suddenly starts swelling. It's not really swelling, but let's just call it swelling. It's as if it's swelling from the vessel. It now swells and start bubbling over. It pours out and it is usually very, very hot. You can't even want to pack it with your hands. Is it not so? It swells and then spills over. Okay, that is volcanoing. Okay, so and in doing so, at times you lose your soap. So you don't want that to happen when you're making soap. Another way you can do your semi-hot process soap is when you get your oils. Let's say your palm oil, your butters, maybe you have some shea butter and some mango butter in there, okay, and they are in semi-solid form. You have your, or it's even in solid form, you have your oils in. Now you now mix your caustic, and when it is that very hot, you pour it into the soap and then mix it quickly, such that the heat of your caustic will now be transferred into your oils. That will melt your oil and also at the same time facilitate saponification, because your soap will be hot because of the heat from the caustic soda. Is it not so? Now at this juncture, let me just stop and let you know something. If the lectures we are giving you is not enough, you still need more, we teach online on Telegram. We teach kiddies skincare, we teach hyperpigmentation and safe skin lightening, we teach pro mixing, cream making, soap making, and in all this we teach formulation, especially our soap, our cream, our pro mixing, we teach formulation. Generally, as I always tell you, anybody that is giving you recipes alone is not helping you. Anybody that's giving you recipes alone is not helping you. Formulation is the best. Already now in my group, there are people that are making their own recipes. They are not even following the recipe in my group anymore, because now they have become soap formulators. They are able to pick a recipe from there, pick a recipe from there, join it with what I've taught them, and then create something new and unique for them. You understand? So that is what I desire everybody to be able to do. That's what I do too. I can just practically reel out recipes, whether of soap making or cream making. At times I just see a product, even without me ever seeing the formulation. I just see a product, I will have an idea how that product was made. And when eventually I search and I'm able to get some information, I find out that at least up to 60 to 70% I was right. That is what formulation does to you. It opens your brain. You should be able to think beyond what you're seeing. So anybody that's giving you recipe, giving you fish, but anybody that's giving you formulation is teaching you how to fish. And I believe we are all wise enough to want to learn how to fish, right? So if you know you're interested, please DM me, chat me up. I'm always there, okay? I'm always there to accept and to help, okay? So now let's continue. We discussed about semi-hot process, the two ways you can warm your oil and warm your caustic. And so you can use warm your oil and use your warm caustic, join them together, make your soap. Then at times, Kuma, you can use your hot caustic now, not warm caustic, your hot caustic, pour it into your cold oils that are semi-solid, mix them up, make your soap. Now in hot process, what happens is that you have already made your soap either in cold process, the way you make a cold process, or you have already made it in the semi-hot process method. Then you now go ahead to put it on fire under a low flame. I recommend a low flame. If you use a harsh flame, it could cause volcano, it could cause problems. Use a low flame, your soap will gently gel and give you that very beautiful color. You know, the color of gelled soap is different from the color of soap that did not gel. Is it not so? So now when you go ahead and do your hot process, you cook it over a low flame, you stir, You don't go far away. Oh, you stay close by. You stay, you watch, you stay, you watch until your soap has completely saponified and gelled. Then you pour into your mold. Okay, usually such soaps have a bit rustic. They are a bit hard because some of the water has even evaporated out, and according to some, they cure, they have a shorter cure time. Some even use it immediately, but I do cure my soaps whether I use hot process or not. I cure them for at least a minimum of 2 weeks for my hot process soap. Okay, so that is what happens in your, hot process soap. Okay, so as I said earlier on, at times you could decide to make it in a different vessel before pouring it into your cooking vessel, but it is easier if the same cooking vessel you make your soap in there, be it cold process, be it semi-hot process, then you now proceed to your hot process. The advantage of using the semi-hot process is that you use shorter cooking time. Okay, then you proceed to your hot process. And remember, never you use aluminium, okay, to cook your soap. Always use stainless steel. Always use stainless steel. If you use aluminium, it will react with your cooking vessel. You will see your soap itself will be boiling, pa 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 pa. It will be boiling on its own, even with little or minimal heat. You see at times it will look as if it is separated. You will see some darkening coming out from the sides of the pot where the soap, the caustic has eaten up into the aluminium into your soap. So please, as much as possible, don't use your stainless steel or use your crock pot. Okay, so thanks so very much. I'm happy to be with you guys once again. Watch out for my next video. In my next video, I'll be talking about which one is best for commercial use. Is it cold process, is it semi-hot process, or is it hot process? Stand by. See ya. Bye.